¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday. It is Friday, Junior folks. We're almost there to the weekend. How's everybody doing? How's it going, Echo Wrestle Dragon? Cosmic Seekin? Howdy, everybody. Just had to run and get my drink. Sorry about that. I still haven't seen your notification. It happens. Looking extra crisp today. Winter Veggie, how's it going? Extra crisp meaning like the actual quality, or I don't know. What do you mean? I'm looking extra crisp. I mean, I'm not gonna say no to that. I'm taking that. I'm just saying what is extra crispy? Oh, the video quality. Yeah. Fun fact. To up said video quality, or to at least make it as smooth and stable and whatnot, kilobytes per second on the upload makes a huge difference. I appreciate that. That's what I need to hear. What's with the face fuzz? You mean like the beard? Well, I haven't shaved yet. I haven't shaved yet. Come on, man. I need to make that a sound thing. I'm trying to make it a habit to shave at least once a week, okay? Don't hold me to it, but I'm trying to make it effort. I'm trying to make an effort, okay? Don't hold me to it though. You look very smart when you take that stuff off. I don't know if I'm interested in looking smart. I'm more interested in actually making good takes. But it does bother me sometimes. I think after about like a week, 2 weeks maximum, it starts to bother me. So usually I don't go longer than that. Some people do, some people don't. I like the beard matte benders too. I was thinking of growing mine out. Yeah, like sometimes, like I said, it just gets to the point where it bothers me. It just bothers me, you know? It like itches and whatnot. That may just be sensitive skin. I don't know. I don't know. I just like at some point, I think like, to me, I just take it off. Matt Bender has a punk perfect. Matt Bender has a perfect punk look. Yeah, I mean you can have both, right? The whole point is to have smart takes or good takes with whether or not I look it, right? It's even better. It's even sweeter. It's even sweeter if some if some chuckle fuck comes in here thinking that thinking that they're dealing with somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about, and it turns out that actually not the case. It's even sweeter if that happens. So Matt Bender hosted the Majority Report today. No Emma, no Sam. There's where you're wrong, buddy. This is my body. My choice. You always impress me with how you cut through the noise and have smart takes. Thank you. I appreciate that. I try. All right. What is on the agenda today? I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. All right. No, I'm kidding. We've got we got quite the amount of stuff on the docket. Do you like football? I don't watch football that much. I'm gonna be honest. The only thing that I watch, because it's like a tradition with my best friend, the only thing that we watch is like the Super Bowl, but that's only because it's like, it's almost like a ritual, like a tradition that we do every year. We go, we meet up, we have like, you know, a little Super Bowl party and whatnot. Like that's just kind of like the thing. It's not really about the football. It's more like a yearly like ritual thing that we hang out. If that makes sense. But no, I'm not like the biggest sports fan. I mean, I'll watch soccer sometimes. Especially the World Cup. That's fun. Soccer is the real football. Yeah. Something like that. My best friend loves football and he's very into it. He knows everything. He knows everything. James from the internet is trying to do a fantasy league with streamers. Oh man. Damn. That's where I failed. That's where I failed. Oh man, you don't want me on that team, okay? You don't want me trying to do fantasy league with zero knowledge over here. Who? I mean, has he? Oh, I think I told him actually. You know what? Yeah, Echo Wrestler Dragon. I think if I remember correctly, I think I told him to email the majority report for for Emma Viglin. I told him to email majority reporters at Gmail. Maybe maybe something like that could happen. Yeah, they're trying to get Emma. Yeah, email the show. I don't know. That's probably like the thing that comes to mind. Email the show. Now that you asked me, I remember him talking about it. He asked me. He asked me. Let me check something real quick. Why do I feel like there's more stuff here? Oh. Okay. Alright, we're good. Yeah, I would definitely recommend to, I mean, if you see him again, or if you talk to him, majorityreporters@gmail.com. Yeah. Alright, folks, we've got quite the docket today, so let's get it, let's get it started. Yeah, yeah. Definitely. Definitely send him an email. Worst thing that can happen is nothing happens, you know? Might as well try. All right. Let's get through some real quick electoral headlines, courtesy of David Packman, who I haven't seen in quite a while.
Go and talk about
He's got a new little layout and everything. Jeez. Haven't seen this in a while.
the Senate. I have to tell you that the Senate is
Oh.
not looking so bad.
Huh. And his camera angle is this is different. This is definitely different.
Now, we'll look at the general Senate numbers in a moment, but there are 3 prominent Republicans who, as of right now, are losing their Senate races. Let's talk about them one by
That's
one.
right.
First and foremost, Val Demings, member of Congress, Democratic member of Congress, former police officer. She has decided to challenge Marco Rubio, the incumbent Republican Florida
Nice.
senator, for his seat. She's currently winning by 4.
Wow.
This could go in any direction between now and November.
No, yeah. I mean, like the fact that they've got like a 4-point lead at this point against Marco Rubio is great. I hope he gets unseated. Not gonna lie, it would put a smile on my face. Even if I don't live in Florida anymore, it would put a decent smile on my face if Marco Rubio loses his Senate race, and if the Democrats can pick up at least one more seat. David has a punchy grit, I imagine, and pushes through the news at a pace. Oh yeah, no, that's his deal. That's his thing.
But we're only 2.5 months away. And to be such a longtime incumbent senator as Marco Rubio, sort of a celebrity senator to the extent that he ran for president and he's more well known than, pick whoever, Ben Sass, I don't know.
Than Val Demings, because Val Demings, I mean, like, she's kind of like not as known anywhere else, right? Like in a national level. Not to my knowledge. I only know Val Demings because, well, I lived in Florida. I'm gonna be quite honest. I thought she was running for governor, not Senate, but
Senators whose names I don't even know. And so the fact that he is down 4 is not insignificant. As The Hill reports, Val Demings leads Rubio by 4, according to a poll released Tuesday. The poll is from University of North Florida's Public Opinion Research Lab. It shows Demings at 48, Rubio at 44,
Oof.
7% saying they would choose someone else. Now, much of that 7% will ultimately vote for Demings or Rubio. So that is very, very interesting.
That's significant,
now, a
too.
couple of other races that are interesting. There is the Mehmet Oz versus John Fetterman race in Pennsylvania in the Senate there. As I've told you before, this is a race that could decide whether Democrats or Republicans control the Senate after the November election. This is not a race that is looking very good for Mehmet Oz, despite all of his personal wealth and cringe ads and everything. The latest Fox News poll has it at Fetterman plus 11.
Jesus.
The Fabrizio Anzalone poll has it at Fetterman plus 6. USA Today, Fetterman plus 9. Those aren't particularly new polls. But on average, right now, according to Real Clear Politics, Fetterman leading Oz by, on average, 8.7 points.
Oh, that's good.
News for Democrats as well.
That's very
And then
good.
lastly, in Georgia, and this is a really scary one because it is way, way, way too close. In Georgia, incumbent Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock is trying to beat off
Who's you guys? Who is you guys?
a challenge from Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker is the Republican nominee who cannot speak, who cannot put together a coherent sentence.
True.
And yet somehow, look at these numbers. Warnock, yes, he's leading, but he is leading by only an average of 4.4 points in that race.
Jesus.
Walker cannot think and cannot speak. He understands not a single political issue. And he's almost within the margin of error. That is endlessly horrifying.
Yeah, not only that, like, yes, it is horrifying the fact that someone like Herschel Walker, um, Democrats, liberals, and leftists. Well, Democrats are Democrats, liberals are liberals, and leftists are leftists. You guys tend to vote for Democrats. Sometimes, yes. Democrats obviously vote for Democrats. They're Democrats by definition. Liberals tend to lean in the direction of Democrats, and I would say a good chunk of them, of lefties would vote for Democrats if given the option, or if given the choice, I should say. So if that's what you're talking about, I don't know. If you asked me that question at the beginning of this year, I would say the opposite. I would say that Dems are not looking good. Fast forward 8 months from now, it's a different. We're looking at a different scenario here. We're looking at a completely different scenario. The stars definitely seem to be aligning for the Democrats just now because the economy doesn't seem to be declining the way people first anticipated. If you combine that with the salience of abortion, you got a perfect scenario where Democrats will turn out, Republicans will be demotivated to turn out, and middle people go with the more of the quote same option. Yeah, I think that the correct assessment is that it is more likely than not that Democrats maintain the Senate, and it is more likely than not that when it comes to the House, it's a coin flip. That one's a little less sturdy, but it is looking more and more likely that the Democratic Party will retain the Senate. The House, I'm not sure. I imagine that there are very few real lefties on the ticket. Yeah, lefty Democrats or lefty progressive kind of candidates are far and few between. I mean, like, the closest one that we have in terms of like the Senate would be Fetterman, I guess. I would be like as close as it gets. And even then, it's like, your notification just arrived. Half an hour later, sweet. It only takes 30 minutes. Nice.
About what it says about the United States and its electorate. Now, overall, how are things looking for the fall? If we look at the 538 forecast in the Senate, Democrats are now up to a 61% chance of holding the Senate. This is a number that started at roughly 50 months ago. And over time, the scenarios have shifted.
Wow, dude, thank you so much for the really insightful political analysis. Allow me to read that out loud. Allow me to read that out loud. That doesn't save you from being ableist, by the way, but I'll read it out loud. Interesting alternate reality you guys live in. Cool. No counter-argument. Excellent. Thanks for the chuckle. Not an argument. I needed that today. Gotta love the lefty wackos. Still not an argument. That's just a bunch of ad homs so far. They think they have a shot. Okay. Explain to me why we don't. Reminds me of the Special Olympics. Again, an ad hominem and ableist. You just can't help but cheer on the differently abled. Again, sounds we're leaning on the ableist stuff. Good luck. Wow, dude. Incredible political analysis. Incredible political analysis from the right. This is what the right has to offer, folks. Incredible analysis. Man, I wish I had the capabilities of doing political analysis like you. I really wish. Man. What the F kind of comment is that? A very, very, very devoid comment that has no substance. No substance, nothing to listen. Nothing to listen to here, there's nothing there. Well, it's nice to know that not only is the political science correct on electoral projection, but also the behavior of extremist people online. I guess that's 2 for 2. Oh, no, you had to mention the word science. Now you really lost him, James. This guy must go from stream to stream. Pretty sure he was in the Beckosphere the other night. Yeah, I mean, you know, if you got nothing else going on in your life, this is what happens, you know? If you have nothing else going on in your life, that's usually what you do. Accidentally. Oh, yeah, you accidentally clicked back on here. You're still talking about me? All I did was read out your comment and said that you have nothing better to do. People like you have like nothing else going on in their life. So that's what you end up doing. Love it. Anyways.
Did more and more and more in favor of Democrats holding the Senate. Now, 61 and 100 doesn't mean Democrats are likely to have 61 seats. Not even
No,
close.
that's not what that means. I hope that people like don't misunderstand that. That liberal tolerance you hear so much. What are you talking about? What? Wait, hold on. I need to know that. I need to make sure that you understand the words that you're actually saying. What is the definition of tolerance? So far in your 5 comments, you've made 0 arguments. You've made ableist comments, ad hominems, and that's about it. Define tolerance, my friend. If you want a good laugh, you should see the TikTok ultra-right MAGAs. Oh, yeah. TikTok is full of them. 100%.
Close. In fact, as you can see on this graphic, the most likely scenarios are either another 50-50 split with Kamala Harris being the tie-breaking vote, meaning Democrats control, Democrats having 51 seats or 52 seats. Those are the most likely scenarios.
I don't do keyboard debates. Just because you're a keyboard warrior insists that it implies that I go around. You see, you don't even know the definition to the words that you're using, right? Because like the liberal tolerance that you hear about so much, that is the implication being is that I'm being intolerant, yet you're still mouthing off in this chat. And 2, a keyboard warrior is someone who goes around like on chat rooms or on social media, trying to like, posture with argumentation, right? Like keyboard warrior. That's not what I do. That's it. That's not what I do. He's so passionate about singling me out. You're the only clown making silly comments. If somebody else makes a silly comment, they'll get their turn. Don't worry. I'm an equal opportunity guy. Okay? I'm an equal opportunity guy.
But a 61% chance of holding the Senate when really Republicans should be taking it, historically speaking, is not altogether terrible. And then over in the House of Representatives, the odds have improved just marginally for Democrats, but still roughly a 4-1 edge for Republicans. A week or 2 ago, I told you that Democrats had only a 20% chance of winning the House. That has just barely inched up flaccidly to 22% from 20%. So in all likelihood, Democrats will lose the House, but if indeed they maintain the Senate, they will at least be able to prevent Republicans from doing any serious damage. Now, also, in terms of the Senate, North Carolina is in play.
In real life, you wouldn't say shit. In real life, you wouldn't say shit. So don't kid yourself.
Florida, rather, 538 has North Carolina looking similar to Florida in terms of the odds that a Democrat takes that seat. And we are going to continue following all of these numbers. But the most likely scenario, the closer we get, the more we can kind of narrow our prediction. The most likely outcome right now is Democrats hold the Senate, lose the House, and we have just vile obstruction for the next 2 years, and nothing gets done. And then Republicans use their own obstruction to try to justify voting for a Republican for president in 2024 because Joe Biden didn't get anything done for those last 2 years, thanks to them, of course. So that's where we are right now. I look forward to taking your questions about the 2022 midterms during our upcoming member-only.
All right. Hey, listen, Pacman. You chill on your own time, okay? Told you he's a pushy. Oh, you actually meant pushy grifter. Yeah, he does push a little. His memberships. Oh my god. His memberships. Oh no. I remember that was such a one of the most annoying features was like every 5 seconds was a member. Listen. Oh, peace and love, okay? Peace and love to the Pac-Man, okay? Peace and love to the Pac-Man. I used to listen to him a lot when I first started getting into like more YouTube stuff. But damn, does he pushes those freaking memberships. Listen, I actually don't think he's a grifter. I'm not gonna I actually don't think he's a grifter. He genuinely believes in the things that he's saying. He's not lying about his positions, or he's not obfuscating he's not obfuscating anything to his audience. What he says is what he believes. Do you have a hearing problem? The guy challenging people to say something IRL. No, I'm calling you a coward. That's what I'm doing. People like you say all kinds of shit online. And what I'm saying is that you actually wouldn't be like this in real life, talking to a real person. That's what I'm saying. Maple syrup. How's it going, Maple Leaf Dragon? $92.5 says something with that. Says something with David Pacman, like on Twitch. Yeah. Finished work and ready to chill. Nice. Where are you from? None of your fucking business. How about that? Oh yeah, David Pacman is huge on YouTube. I think he's like, what, almost 2 million? 2 million? $2 million subs. Since you're so ready to throw hands, apparently, I've never said anything of the sort. I think you need your ears clean. I think you need your ears cleaned, my friend. All right. I think we should start with this one. No, it's not. That's not really what the implication is. I understand that sometimes, like, people like yourself like to make yourselves feel better by doing shit like this, but it's okay, buddy. One day you'll grow up. One day. One day you'll mature. One day you'll make it past the age of 15. You'll be alright. You're gonna be okay. Georgia governor asked judge to quash subpoena for him to appear before a grand jury. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp asked the judge on Wednesday to throw out a subpoena from the Fulton County District Attorney, requiring the Republican governor to appear before the grand jury investigating former President Trump's attempt to overturn the 2020 election in his state. Yeah, it's probably some little kid, some 10-year-old. Kemp had been since there'll be no violence, and I'm even more eager to say what I say in IRL. What do you say? I'm saying the same thing that I said to you earlier, that people like you would never talk to anybody else like that. All right? Anyways, like I said, if you have nothing else to offer, why are you still here? Listen, if you're going to be a troll in this channel, you have to be entertaining, okay? The number one rule about being a troll in this channel is that you have to be entertaining. If you can't entertain or have anything of substance, why are you here? Why is your trolling level so lazy? And I'm willing to back up what I say. Well, all you have said is nothing but ad hominems. That's it. All you have said is nothing but ad hominems. What is there to back up? What is there to back up? That you called me a garden gnome? Cool, dude. Wow. What else is there to back up? God bless your little liberal heart. Nice. These statements don't make any sense. There's nothing to back up there. The interesting alternate reality you guys live in. No substance there. Think they have a shot. Reminds me of the Special Olympics. Again, ableist language and nothing there. There's no argument there. So, what is there to back up here? What is there to back up? Yeah, this is my channel. I do what I want. Anyways, if you have nothing else of value to add to this stream, why are you still here? Kemp had been scheduled for a voluntary interview in July, his lawyer said in a court filing, but the interview was unilaterally canceled after Kemp's legal team inquired about its scope. The district attorney's office then issued a subpoena, Kemp lawyers said. Governor Kemp has ardently defended the rule of law in his state. Moreover, he welcomes opportunities to explain and defend his actions. However, the subpoena ignores, and more importantly, the DA office has refused to account for the serious privileges it implicates in relation to the testimony of a sitting governor. The filing also argues that the subpoena is suspiciously timed to coincide with the crescendo in Kemp's re-election campaign and is not driven by genuine investigative need for that information. Well, how do you know that? The Fulton County DA declined for comment. Investigators sought to discuss a December 2020 phone call in which Trump allegedly tried to push Kemp to convince the state legislators to overturn then-President-elect Joe Biden's win in the state. Kemp's office tried to schedule the interview and expressed concern about the upcoming election, the filing says, but found that the district attorney's office to be unresponsive. Kemp's office tried to schedule the interview and expressed... Kemp's office also provided thousands of pages of material to investigators through a Freedom of Information Act and 137,000 pages of materials voluntarily, the filing said. Earlier Wednesday, Rudy Giuliani appeared behind closed doors for a grand jury testimony and investigation. Trump's former attorney, had been told by Atlanta prosecutors that he is a target in their probe of Trump's election subversion schemes in the state. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, meanwhile, has asked federal judge to stay a decision requiring him to appear next week before the special grand jury until he can appeal, according to a new court filing. Graham has argued that he should not be forced to testify before the grand jury because his actions surrounding the Georgia election were related to legislative activity and should be protected under the speech and debate clause. That district judge did not agree, so good luck. Good luck. I think that definitely, if any of these things, if any of the paths of criminality that Trump has taken, if any of them are going to land, it's probably one of these regarding the obvious schemes by not only him, but several Republicans to essentially overturn the election. To me, this means the walls are slowly but surely closing in, little by little, step by step. On the other front, Trump's CFO, Alan Weisselberg, pleads guilty in tax scheme. Former Trump Organization CFO Alan Weisselberg on Thursday pleaded guilty to tax violations and admitted to helping run a years-long tax fraud scheme at the former president's business. Oh boy. Not good. Weisselberg's testimony may put him front and center at a future trial in the criminal case against the Trump Organization, where he will have to testify about his role in the elaborate scheme. Weisselberg on Thursday admitted to all 15 felonies that prosecutors in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office accused him of, but steered away from Trump and his family. Weisselberg has refused to cooperate with prosecutors in their investigation into Trump and his family, the New York Times notes. Damn, so is this guy really going to be the fall guy? This guy's really going to be the fall guy for Trump, if that's the way I'm reading it. Are we, hopefully we're seeing a swinging of the pendulum back towards consequences for law breaking. Yeah, I would like to see that. I would like to see accountability, and I would like to see these folks being held, responsible for their crimes, essentially. One could only hope. One can only hope. Weisselberg has refused to cooperate with prosecutors in their investigation to Trump and his family in the New York Times notes. Last year, the Manhattan's District Attorney Office charged Weisselberg and the Trump family business for taking more than $1.7 million in off-the-books compensation from the organization. Under the terms of the plea deal, Weisselberg, who was facing up to 15 years in prison, will serve 5 months as well as 5 years of probation. Damn, nice. With time accredited for good behavior, he is expected to be out of prison for expected to be in prison for about 100 days. Jesus, that's like what, maybe over 3 months, 3.5 months max. There will be a few fall guys, but for the people who need to be punished, there won't be. Yeah, maybe. I mean, this guy says he's not going to cooperate, but we'll see. Weisselberg must also pay nearly $2 million in taxes and penalties and interest. Weisselberg must also testify as a prosecution witness at the forthcoming trial for the Trump Organization. Prosecutors alleged that the scheme allowed Weisselberg to skirt paying taxes on rent and private school tuition per the Times. Weisselberg, 75, is the only person facing criminal charges so far in the investigation into Trump Organization business practices. Weisselberg and the Trump Organization have tried to get charges dismissed, claiming they were politically motivated. So politically motivated that he pled guilty to all of them. Nice. Trump has not learned the art of shutting his mouth and stop digging. Well, Alio with the 10 biddies coming in hot. How's it going? We'll see if that results in anything. A judge last week denied a request to dismiss the Manhattan tax fraud case against the Trump Organization and Weisselberg, allowing the case to move forward to a trial in October. We will see what happens. I mean, the mafia was brought down by taxes, so we'll see. We'll see. The continuous intakes of oxygen for respiration is politically motivated for these people. True. So politically motivated that you ended up pleading guilty as soon as like you were threatened to. As soon as like it was threatened to go to trial for real. As soon as the judge cleared it, like that guy knew it was over. He pleaded guilty to all the charges. That's how politically motivated it was that he ended up pleading guilty. But Trump needs to learn he might be a kingmaker, but former presidents should help the country, not just him. Well, yeah, but he doesn't care about any of that. He doesn't care about any of that. Trump's not going to learn anything. Trump's not going to learn anything. Good thing I got multiple boosts. I got COVID this month. It's low. How was it? Meaning like the symptoms were mild? That's good. That's good. For me, that was rough. Not gonna lie. As the walls continue to close in, we'll see what happens with this case, and we'll see what happens with the Georgia case, and we'll see what happens with the alleged national security documents or whatever that the FBI is looking for or found. For 3 days, coughing over 800 times. Wow, a lot of coughing. Any other symptoms? Because that's pretty mild in comparison. Not to discount that, but that's pretty mild in comparison. Because for me, it was all fatigue. There was some coughing, but most of it was just feeling absolutely horrible. Horrible. Fever for days. the chills. Oh, well, that okay. Well, I mean, yeah. If you're in an airplane, or especially if you're like in a cruise ship, yeah, that's things that I will not do include going on cruise ships. Okay, or things that I avoid, or things that I would try to avoid. Cruise ships would be one of them. This kind of reminds me of the late 80s. They investigated and indicted hundreds of people from the Reagan administration, the Law and Order administration. It's the same old story, same old song and dance, folks. Every accusation ends up being a confession. That's just how it is with conservatives and Republicans. But with a pandemic, can anyone isolate for 4 to 5 years? There are precautions you can take, and I would almost argue that a cruise, taking a cruise is not something that you need to do. But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Like I could definitely go for years and years and years on end without taking a cruise. And to be quite frank, staying here at home works for me. But that's just me again. That's just how I'm programmed to operate. I'm very comfortable. I'm very comfortable being here. Well, it's not about shunning. It's not about shunning. Think how much, like, I don't know, for me, like, the first thing that comes to mind is, like, damn, how much money do I not have to spend on a cruise? And, like, that's as far as the extent of the argument that is necessary for me to convince myself not to go, family or otherwise. Another Amazon warehouse in New York is seeking to unionize. Nice. A facility known as ALB1 has filed a petition to hold an election with the NLRB. Workers at an Amazon warehouse in a town located southeast of Albany, New York, have filed a petition with the NLRB to hold a union election. Nice. Very, very nice. The warehouse with the code name ALB1 is hoping to join the Amazon labor union, which successfully convinced majority of workers at the company's JFK 8 facility in Staten Island to vote in favor of unionizing earlier this year. An NLRB spokesperson told CNBC that the agency's office in Buffalo is currently verifying whether the group has truly met the minimum number of signatures needed to hold an election. Unions typically need to get signatures from 30% of eligible members to be able to hold the vote. According to the Washington Post, the ALU previously said that it had passed that threshold for the Albany warehouse. Union organizers at the facility have been working on joining the ALU for months. After Amazon noticed their efforts, the company reportedly held meetings to discourage workers from unionizing. An employee also sent us photos of digital TVs at the Albany facility displaying anti-union messages. Oh, is this a picture? Don't sign an ALU card. The ALU may ask you to sign an authorization card or share a QR code to fill in online authorization. This is a legally binding document. Did you know by signing a card or filling out an online authorization form, you're providing the ALU your personal information, as opposed to us, Amazon, having access to all your personal information? What? That's not an argument. That's it? Only these things? 7 photos? Okay, here we are. Don't sign an ALU card. Protect your privacy. By signing a card or filling out an online authorization form, you are authorizing the ALU to speak on your behalf. I'm not sure that's true because you would have to have an election, win that election, and then the ALU is able to represent you, not speak on your behalf. Like, this is such a cheap anti-union cop-out that they use, right? As if like the union speaking on your behalf because you're in the union is a bad thing. That's kind of how that is supposed to work. It's inherently a more democratic process when workers get together and then make decisions collectively. That's how it should work. The ALU is not a part of Amazon. It's a union and does not represent Amazon. No, it represents the workers. What? The ALU is untested and unproven. Wrong again. Unions have been quite tested and quite proven. Unions have been a thing for quite a while. Yeah. Anyways, good meme. Thanks, Amazon. To be precise, the messages discourage people from signing a card from the ALU pertaining to the authorization cards workers have to sign for the warehouse to be able to hold a vote. Yeah, like, this is even, like, nothing. This is an authorization card to have an election, to hold a vote. And then you do the votes and you may or may not win that election. So yeah, they're completely lying. They're completely lying. Yes, but that would mean that Amazon doesn't have a total control of your existence down to your genetic code. True, and they can't have that. True. You know, you really have to think about Amazon in this case, okay? You really have to think, okay? You have to really, really consider the CEO of a $100 billion company. Wait, no. Actually, isn't Amazon closer to the $1 trillion company? I saw a article saying that Amazon was on path to being a $1 trillion company. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Why don't I look it up? Oh yeah, they made it to the $1 trillion club. Unions are the only reason the government and companies in Europe don't treat workers like total shit. True! That's very true. Once autonomous vehicles start rolling, probably. Oh yeah, no, they made the $1 trillion club, I think. Amazon owns Twitch, to be accurate. That is true. That is true. I 100% agree, Jostein. HDK, thank you for the follow. The ALU has been demanding for higher pay and safer working conditions for warehouse workers and has previously accused the company of retaliation. A few weeks after it won the election in Staten Island, Amazon fired 2 of the employees who were involved in its organization efforts. Their fellow organizers believe that it was a retaliatory move by the e-commerce giant. Heather Goodall, a lead organizer at the ALB1, said the main concern I hear from workers are about wages and safety. Besides that, there's no job security, there's no way to rest on a 15-minute break, and workers want to be able to use the bathroom freely. Damn. That... Next thing you know, these workers will want a freaking living wage. Jesus. What? Oh, and if you keep going, they may even ask for benefits like healthcare. Even in my country, though, I'm government-assigned healthcare. I am a government-assigned healthcare worker, and I work with security personnel. Our unions are far stronger, and our rights are significantly different from my security colleagues. Sheesh. Yeah, unions are 100% good, 100% necessary, I think. I think the more unions, the better. The more unionization, the better. Amazon has made it clear that it is against workers' unionization efforts, right? Because it benefits the workers, and that ultimately is at odds with the benefits of, with the interests of Amazon. 100%. These are two things that are at odds with each other. 30% higher bonuses and such. Over time, we get 50% more and such things. Nice. Nice. As it should be. A spokesperson told the Post, as a company, we don't think unions are the best answers for our employees. No, I think you mean a union isn't the answer for you guys, for the CEOs and whatnot. That's not true. Unions on average, or unions generally speaking, as our friend here just kind of pointed out, lead to better working conditions, lead to better pay, lead to better benefits, and job stability. They don't want that. Thank you for the follow, Justin. More unions and more... ¿Por qué no los dos? Why not both? Our focus remains on working directly with our team to continue making Amazon a great place to work. But your employees, the people who are actually working there, are telling you it is actually not a great place to work, and they're seeking ways to make that happen. And the way they're making that happen is because A, you're not listening, so B, you don't give a fuck, and C, you pay like shit, you have shit conditions, and very bad job stability. So yeah, a union is the way to go here. The company also appealed the ALU's victory in Staten Island, accusing organizers of pressuring workers to vote in favor of unionizing. A hearing for Amazon's appeal could be announced sometime this month. Thank you all for the new follows. I appreciate that. Welcome, everybody. They fight tooth and nail to stop it exactly because it makes their employees' life more secure. 100%. I agree with this. Yes. I would say Maple Leaf Dragon that within the current confines of where we're at and what systems we have now, I think that we could, without doing much, right now, we could incentivize and give equal financing or prioritize new financing for worker cooperatives, for businesses to start off as worker cooperatives. We could get more incentives to start that off, and for bigger firms, for large companies, then we start unionizing those. It all moves to the same goals. It all goes down the same path. Sounds good to me. Trump lawyer ordered to appear before special grand jury probing election steal scheme. A judge in Colorado ordered Jenna Ellis, a former legal advisor to former President Trump's campaign, to appear before a special grand jury in Fulton County, Georgia, that is investigating the election steal efforts by Trump and his allies in the battleground state. Judge Gregory Lamons in Fort Collins, Colorado, issued the decision on Tuesday after holding a hearing in response to a request from Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis, who is leading the grand jury's probe to compel testimony from Ellis. Fulton County investigators subpoena Ellis for testimony before the grand jury on August 25th. Prosecutors have reportedly purchased plane tickets and booked a hotel reservation in preparation for Ellis's testimony, the Associated Press reports. However, investigators have offered a range of other dates in which she could make her appearance. Dawn Downs, a lawyer in the Larimer County District Office, said during Tuesday's hearings, according to CNN. During the hearing, Will Wooten, a lawyer in Fulton County District Attorney's Office, argued that Ellis's testimony was material and necessary to the special grand jury's probe. Nice. Ellis reportedly made an appearance virtually at the hearing but did not testify. Ellis was given permission to attend virtually after she said in a court filing that she had travel plans in Missouri, Pennsylvania, and Washington this week. Lamons reportedly pointed out that her Ellis travels to the East Coast put her in closer proximity to Georgia than if she was coming from Colorado. The special grand jury's investigation that began last year was prompted by the infamous phone call. Yes, we know that. So we'll see. We'll see as the walls, close in little by little. Like I said, the one that really looks the most solid out of everything is this case here. After CEO and board of directors have big revenue and so many shortcuts, hard workers deserve more choices also. Yeah, how do you think those board of directors make all that big revenue? It's the workers. So yeah, they absolutely deserve, just as a moral, I think, right. The workers absolutely should have a decision in what happens in their workplace, and definitely should have a agency of what's going on, right? I mean, these are the people that are generating all the wealth, essentially. All the stuff is literally generated by the workers. If there was no workers, these CEOs and board of directors would be what? Nothing. Let's turn our attention to Florida man once again. Florida officials arrest and charge 20 people with illegal voting. Damn. Got him. 20 whole people, folks. Florida officials have arrested and charged 20 people with felony convictions and charged them with illegal voting. This is charged. We'll see how many of them actually committed the crime and under what circumstances. We'll see. Florida Governor DeSantis said on Thursday a move designed to show the muscle of a new office tasked with policing voting in the state. One that costs millions of dollars. With 20 people, folks. Damn. The announcement came just days before the state's primary election as early voting is underway. DeSantis, flanked by law enforcement, said that 20 people were charged with voting in Broward, Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach counties, some of the most Democratic in the state. They did not go through any process, they did not get their rights restored, and yet they went ahead and voted anyways. That is against the law, and now they're going to pay a price for it. He said that all 20 had convictions for murder and sexual offenses, crimes that continued to result in lifetime voting bans in the state. Florida voters lifted the ban for all other offenses in 2018. The governor released few other details about the charges, indictments, and warrants weren't immediately available. The lack of detail is significant. The rules around voting with a felony are incredibly complex around the country, Florida included, and many people with felonies can be confused about their eligibility. There have been several examples, including in Florida, of illegal voting cases involving people who had been convicted of felonies that turned out to be people who were confused. People with felonies can make easy targets for prosecutors looking to make a voter fraud case since they are already being monitored. Yeah. DeSantis used a press conference in Broward County on Thursday to champion the work of the Office of Election Crimes and Security, a first-of-its-kind office created in this year, charged with investigating voter fraud. Peter Antonacci, the head of the office, said it was a special day. This is the day we begin to take fraud seriously. How many votes were how many votes were cast in Florida in 2020? $14.4 million votes were cast in 2020. For perspective. If I did my math correct, that's 0.00014%. Nice. Great. Excellent job. The move is obvious intimidation and suppression to keep eligible Floridians from even trying to vote. Said Blair Bowie, a lawyer at the campaign Legal Center, a watchdog group who specializes in voting rights for people with felony convictions. After Florida voters lifted the lifetime voting ban for people with most felonies, Florida lawmakers passed a measure that made it enormously difficult for people to figure out if they could vote again, because that's the point. Like, whenever you talk about, yeah, that's a very good question, Cosmic Seeking. Damn, you know what? You should really ask that to Ron DeSantis, because that is a very good question, and very conveniently, he decided to leave that little detail out that might be relevant. that might be just a little bit relevant there. You're absolutely correct. Or rather, I should say, rather, you pose a very important question that conveniently Ron DeSantis did not say. Yeah, look, everyone, we shot some fish in the barrel over here, and most of them are dead. Yeah. Wow. Nice. Amazing. Cool, dude. Awesome. Awesome. Nice. Way to go. Nice. Thank you, DeSantis. You did not. Yeah. We don't know because DeSantis conveniently left that little important detail out. Also, when people, and by people I mean conservatives, and by conservatives I also mean the Republican Party, conservatives, the right wing, all synonymous, talk about election integrity and make all these new laws in the name of election integrity and blah, 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 all this other stuff, right? The immediate question to anybody who's like, I don't know, talking to another person about this, if you're talking to somebody about this, the immediate follow-up question is, can you show me the evidence that would support the necessity of these election integrity laws? Because making election integrity laws implies that there's a problem, in which case that now we need to legislate so that we can solve this problem, right? That's the implication. Because like, why would you need election integrity laws if there wasn't a problem, right? Right? Why would you propose election integrity laws if there's no problem with the integrity of elections? That makes zero sense. Integrity is when I get the outcome I want. True. No, yeah, at least for Republicans, that's true. Note that they were he said that they were mostly Democratic counties, meaning that Republicans in those counties would be more incentivized to commit voter fraud in those counties. Yeah, maybe, to test the system or whatnot. Or just to rack up some W's for the Republicans, knowing that they're in a blue stronghold. Yeah, who knows? I'm just, maybe that's true. But it's really, really telling when he doesn't disclose that, or at least at the very least, give us like some type of information, transparency, saying like, oh yeah, it was mostly, it was. I'm not gonna tell you everybody, but it was overwhelming, you know, or at least like give us a list of like D to R ratio, right? You don't have to name names. But yeah, no, that detail is not important enough. Not important enough to put that there, because that would be whew, you don't want to. You don't want to get caught with your pants down lying, right? Got to hide the ball. So yeah, anytime anybody talks about election integrity, the immediate follow-up question should be, what's the problem that would require election integrity laws? Can you demonstrate the problem here that would require us election integrity laws? And if there aren't problems that are requiring the election integrity laws, why are you proposing them, right? So like, it's actually a twofer. It's actually a two-part question. A, I need the evidence demonstrating the problem in which an election integrity law would be required, and then B, would that law actually solve that problem? That's a good point, Cosmic Seeking. If they had been Dems, it would have been plastered. Ron DeSantis would be making like a complete like media tour across the state. Yeah, you know, you may be right. Maple Leaf Dragon, Cosmic Seeking. Yeah, you may be right. If it was found, or if he had access to that information, man, he would be like making a whole media tour. This would be right wing on the right wing news, plastered wall to wall to wall to wall. Dems found guilty of election fraud or whatnot, 20 of them. Oh, this is breaking news from earlier today. The Starbucks workers who were fired for their efforts of unionization were had to be reinstated. Congratulations. That is excellent news. Wow. I just saw that pop up on my phone. Nice. Nice. After Florida voters lifted a lifetime voting ban with people with most felonies, Florida lawmakers, Florida Republicans, come on, let's be clear, Florida Republicans passed a measure that made it enormously difficult for people to figure out if they could vote again on purpose because they don't want people voting. In litigation challenging that measure, Florida election officials testified that they would regularly monitor the voting rolls to flag people who were ineligible. Which I would say, like, man, they have to be clear about this kind of stuff, and furthermore, just let people vote. I mean, like, that's fundamentally one of the most, if not the most important institution of a democracy. It's Florida's job to review the voter registration applications when they are submitted and determine whether or not the person is eligible at that time. Bowie said in an email, the Florida Director of Elections swore under oath that they would check every registration for eligibility every day. The first thing she said they would look for is ineligible convictions such as murder and sexual felonies, and that they would pull those registrations out. Florida could have kept that promise and easily denied these voter registrations, preventing ineligible voters from casting ballots in the first place. Instead, they're spending money on prosecuting people after the fact, because maybe it wasn't really about that. Maybe that was the goal here. Maybe that was the goal here. Maybe that was the goal. Makes sense for Republicans. Election integrity laws, increasing the ratio of R and D in favor of R by whatever means required, because R's are the only real Americans in the name, and it's in the name the Republic of the U.S., United States of America. True, excellent, flawless logic, makes total sense. In their heads, that's exactly what they're thinking. We all know. We all know. Well, it makes sense in their head. Unfortunately, like, on jokes aside, unironically, that's pretty much the line of thought. Like, all jokes aside, the line of thought is usually in that direction. Pretty scary. Pretty scary. Which only solidifies my argument that I've pretty much beaten to death at this point. Over and over, and I will continue to beat to death, is that the Republican Party just simply isn't compatible with democracy. They don't care about democracy. They don't care about election integrity. They don't care about electoral systems. They don't care about the will of the people. None of that. None of that. They don't care about law and order. They don't care about freedom. They don't care about any of that. Okay? They're not interested. The Republican Party is incompatible with democracy, period, full stop. Affidavit used in search can be unsealed. Parts of it. Parts of it, anyways. A federal judge said that parts of the affidavit used to obtain a search warrant of former President Trump's resort home, Mar-a-Lago, can be unsealed. The decision from a U.S. Magistrate Judge Bruce Reinhardt came after the Department of Justice asked him not to unseal the highly sensitive document, which detailed the government's view that it had probable cause to believe the search of Mar-a-Lago would turn up evidence of illegality. The government's investigation into the records seized from Trump's Palm Beach... from Trump's Palm Beach, Florida residence is still in its, quote, early stages, argued Jay Bratt, the head of a DOJ counterintelligence team, NBC reported. The affidavits contain substantial grand jury information in a case with national security overtones. Reinhardt disagreed, saying he believes that there are portions of it that can be unsealed. In a written order later Thursday, Reinhardt wrote, "As I ruled from the bench at the conclusion of the hearing, I find that on the present record, the government has not met its burden of showing the entire affidavit should remain sealed. The judge gave the government a week to file the proposed redactions to the affidavit." The prosecutors had previously urged the court to reject calls from the media outlets and other entities to disclose the affidavit, which supported the search warrant used by the FBI agents in the August 8th raid of Mar-a-Lago. Trump had publicly called for the affidavit to be released without redactions, though his lawyers have not yet filed a motion asking the judge to do so. The former president has made his view clear that the American people should be permitted to see the unredacted affidavit related to the raid and related to the lawfully executed search warrant of his home, said his spokesman Taylor Budowich on Twitter after the hearing. His tweet praised Reinhardt for rejecting the DOJ's cynical attempt to hide the whole affidavit from Americans, but insists that no redactions should be necessary. So then follow your thing, right? You're the lawyer. The search warrant itself had been publicly released with the DOJ's approval last week. The document and attached materials indicate that the agents were looking for materials related to 3 criminal statutes, one of which was the Espionage Act. Attorney General Merrick Garland, who said he personally approved the warrant, supported its disclosure in light of the substantial public interest in this matter. But the affidavit presents a very different set of considerations. Federal prosecutors wrote in a court filing on Monday. The still sealed document contains critically important and detailed investigative facts about witnesses and other highly sensitive information related to the ongoing criminal probe which implicates national security. If disclosed, the affidavit would highly likely to compromise future investigative steps, said the filings, which was signed by Bratt, the head of the Counterintelligence and Export Control Section of the DOJ's National Security Division. The current criminal investigation stems from a probe of the government records that were transferred to Mar-a-Lago instead of the National Archives after Trump left office in 2021. FBI agents sought all records and other evidence illegally possessed in violation of 3 criminal statutes according to the search warrant and properly released last week. The agency seized about 20 boxes of items and other materials, including multiple sets of documents marked top secret, classified, and property receipt. The property receipt showed none of these 3 statutes, Title 18 of the U.S. Code, Section 793, 1519, 2071, hinge on whether the documents in questions were classified. Right, so all this, chest beating about, why declassify them and I didn't. Well, first of all, no, there's no evidence that Trump declassified any of this, and B, this doesn't matter. This is completely irrelevant. We just need to get all the independents and Dems to change registry to Republican and then vote Nina Turner for president as a writing candidate. True, yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Hopefully it's redacted. Trump and his buddies need some lines not to cross. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, a piece of me wants this thing to be, if it means that this investigation is serious and they are serious about doling out consequences, should the evidence point to that direction? Should the evidence be like, look, this guy is doing some really sussy shit. This guy's in possession of documents that he should not have been in possession of, and things like that. If the evidence leads down that direction, which it seems, there's a significant reason to believe so, then I would argue that maybe all this should remain sealed until the investigation is completed, so that the investigation and consequently, I would presume, trial and all that would go as it's supposed to, right? I don't want to hear that, they cry foul or anything like that. No technicalities. I want it to be done properly, and I want this guy to go down and finally see some consequences. Long time no see. How's it going? ¿Qué pasó? I'm hanging in here. What's the topic at hand? Trump's criminality. Trump's criminality as the walls start closing in little by little. The lefty chase of America. There's nothing lefty about this. Wasn't aware. Merrick Garland was like the biggest lefty in America. The same goes for the FBI director who was appointed by Trump. I mean, unless Trump's like secretly a lefty and he's appointing lefties to the head of the FBI, that would be kind of weird. You're gonna have to explain that one. So as I was saying, the 6 years so far is still chasing Trump. The left working on the third impeachment. Third impeachment? What impeachment are you talking about? And who's the left? You think the Dems are the left? No, sir. I will Google it real quick. Okay, buddy. 6 years. It doesn't really matter. Listen, it's really simple. Okay? Anything that has happened in the past has zero relevance to what's happening now, because this is a recent investigation on a completely separate playing field. Okay? Impeachments, whatever, I don't care. Russiagate, I don't care. This is a completely different ball game, and you're implying that this is politically motivated. It's not. The dude's a shady guy, okay? And you're surprised that all of a sudden things would change? You're implying that this is some kind of politically motivated thing? Yeah, Merrick Garland's about as left as my right-handed glove. True! Yeah, this isn't a third impeachment. You can't impeach somebody that's not in office. The next impeached filed? Can you send that to me? Because I have no idea what you're talking about. Send that to me because we have no links here. This makes no sense. Trump isn't in office. No, I can't see the link. Send it to me, like, via whispers. There's no such thing as a third impeachment. How is that possible? you don't understand, why are you talking about it? Did you bother reading it? This is from January of 2021. Received in the Senate in January of 2021. This is probably the second impeachment related to the January 6th insurrection. Yeah, this is related to the January 6th insurrection. Bro, did you bother reading this before sending it to me? Trump just wants the federal government to subsidize his properties again. True. Hold on. How many times was Trump impeached? Come on, this is very simple. He is the only U.S. president to be officially impeached twice. Not 3, twice. The document you sent me is regarding the January 6th insurrection, which he was impeached for. That was his second impeachment, which he was president at the time, I believe. You can't find me an article or a motion for a third impeachment because it doesn't exist. Donald Trump has only been impeached twice. If there's a new motion, which I wouldn't see how or who would be filing that. Is there a third impeachment for Donald Trump? Like, why are we even, like, arguing? Three Republicans who voted for impeachment faced Trump-backed challengers on Tuesday. This is not a third impeachment. What? This is an article about how 3 Republicans who voted to impeach him in the original 2 times for his role in the January 6th insurrection are about to lose their jobs. Yes, we know this. Thank you. This is both wacky and Lamau. 3 times is the charm. They'll get him. No, this is completely separate. What I'm talking about is literally a criminal investigation into Trump for doing, the crimes. For doing sussy shit. Enough sussy shit to invite the FBI to execute a search warrant. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. I don't give a shit about anything else. I don't give a shit about the impeachments that happened. I don't care about 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 1 year ago, 1 month ago. I don't care. When I'm talking about specifically this issue, this is what I'm talking about. Dude was doing some sketchy shit, taking some shit he shouldn't have taken, and now the FBI is looking for it. Okay? So Republicans want to control everything, and impeachment is for government officials. Trump is not anymore. Yeah. Trump is not going to get impeached again. Trump should have been impeached about 107 times. True. True. But that's besides the point. But yes. The FBI was invited to Trump's house. A search warrant was given to them, yes. due to a National Archives giving a subpoena to Trump for the stuff to be returned. It was returned when requested, so National Archives asked the DOJ to investigate. Nope, that's a very nope. We're missing very important details out of that statement. So, we're missing some very important details. The National Archive asked for documents. Okay, it wasn't returned. Yes, that's true. Yes, it wasn't returned. The National Archives gave a subpoena to Trump, or asked for the shit back. He gave some stuff back. They said, listen, there's still more shit missing. He gave more shit back. And then they were like, look, bro, something's going on here. Some sussy-wussy shit is going on here. And they referred that to the DOJ because there was still more stuff missing. Yes, that part you are correct. And yeah, it turns out when you do sussy-wussy shit and potentially criminal actions, you invite the FBI. Yeah, that's what happened. There's no political motivating, there's nothing political about this. As much as people want to spin it, yeah, there's still more shit's missing, including potential documents related to nuclear weapons. So no matter how hard these people are trying to spin it like it's some kind of political thing, the simple answer is that this dude's been a shady con man his entire life. And wow, surprise Pikachu face, he's doing shady shit. And he's potentially going to go down for that. That's one of the avenues. So, doesn't matter what happened 6 years ago. Don't care. This is what I'm talking about. I'm not supporting the situation at all. Trump effed up. He should have given the stuff back on time. Yeah, but he's a con man. He's a criminal. Like he's also under investigation for being sussy-wussy when in terms of like business practices. Like the dude has been effed up from beginning to end, corrupt and shady from the start. Republicans and Trump want the presidency to apply to Trump and MAGA forever. Yeah, they don't believe in anything regarding democracy at all. The Republican Party, as it stands right now, is completely incompatible with democracy. Completely. Completely. I'm going to keep hammering that point down until the end of time. I can't help but notice at the top breaking, like any normal person knows what that means, because I don't. What? What does that mean? You lost me. What happened? Oh, on the last article? I don't know. Let me see so I can look at it. History. The breaking. Oh yeah, these are breaking news, like breaking articles or things that just happened. If that's what you're referencing. Howdy, howdy. Yeah, if I click this, yeah, it's gone. Yes, is because this is CNBC. I don't know. I think like some, depending on the web page, they might have that on top or on the bottom. Some have like the breaking news on the side. I don't know. All right, let's see. What do you got for me? This one doesn't have it. A U.S. magistrate judge started the process of potentially releasing some information from the affidavit that the Justice Department used to obtain a search warrant for former President Trump's Florida residence. Judge Bruce Reinhardt said during a hearing that the court was planning to release to unseal portions of the affidavit, which is sought by various media outlets and other organizations. This announcement came after the Justice Department, while arguing against the disclosure of the documents, revealed new, if not extremely vague, details about the investigation into handling the classified documents from the Trump White House. Judge lays out the process for potentially releasing parts of the affidavit. Reinhardt set in motion on Thursday the possible public release of heavily redacted versions of the affidavit for the search at Mar-a-Lago. The judge plans to hear more from the Justice Department by next Thursday about how extensively investigators want to keep confidential documents that describe their investigative steps and methods leading to the need of the search. Stop with these ads. Okay. Sorry, I didn't finish my thought just a moment ago. So if they're serious about this, and if there's serious accountability, if they're really going to go after this guy for real, and there's going to be accountability finally, then I would say, you know what? Keep this sealed for now. Let the process play out as it should. I don't want to hear foul. I don't want to hear. The Trump team crying foul. I want this to go exactly how the process should go. Okay, and if that means leaving these things unsealed because of X, Y, and Z, so be it. That's my position. Yeah, just give me the names so I can threaten them into silence. Yeah. Reinhardt said he wasn't convinced yet that the entire affidavit should remain. We saw this. I'm not prepared to find the affidavit should be fully sealed based on record he has now. Reinhardt said that adding there are portions which could be unsealed. Prosecutors will have the opportunity to propose redactions and explain why each piece of information needs to be kept from the public eye. Reinhardt said those proposals will be due noon on August 25th. Reinhardt said that he may have additional confidential discussions with the Justice Department before making his decision on transparency. Unsealed document sharpens focus on Trump as a possible subject of a criminal probe. A document unsealed on Thursday which offered specifics about the crime the Justice Department is investigating, including willful retention of national defense information, sharpens the focus on the former president as a possible subject of the criminal probe. Previously, the search warrant documents only listed federal statutes, including they keep mentioning this, the espionage law, and the documents released so far had made it clear that Trump and others around him face potential legal exposure, including for possible obstruction of justice. But the specific language of willful retention could point to the role of the former president who would have been authorized to possess national defense documents while in office, but not once he decamped to his private club and residence in Palm Beach, Florida. The newly unsealed document was part of the application for the warrant and was among several largely procedural documents the judge unsealed on Thursday. A Justice Department lawyer said during the hearing that the probable cause affidavit used to get the warrant described that prosecutors might find evidence of obstruction on the grounds of the Florida property, a possible crime that the search warrant itself revealed was under investigation. In this case, the court has found probable cause that there's a violation of one of the obstruction statutes, and evidence of obstruction would be found at Mar-a-Lago, said Jay Brett, who heads the Justice Department's counterintelligence section. Obstruction of justice was one of 3 statutes listed on the search warrant for Mar-a-Lago, which was unsealed last week. And Reinhardt said during the hearing on Thursday that he found there is probable cause that the statutes had been violated. Oof. Yikes. Brett made the comments about obstruction being investigated while he was trying to highlight the DOJ's fear that the future witnesses may not be willing to provide information if too much was come out in the investigation so far. The DOJ says affidavit is lengthy, detailed, and contains substantial grand jury information. Bratt revealed that the other details about the affidavit described it as lengthy, detailed, and containing substantial grand jury information. He told the federal judge that letting the public read the affidavit would provide a roadmap to the investigation and would even indicate the next steps in the probe. Bratt's comments in the court emphasized that there is an active, ongoing criminal investigation with robust witnesses interview work being done and grand jury activity. Yeah, like definitely, like if they're serious about consequences, if they're serious about accountability, then I would say, leave this sealed. There are probably documents related to his multiple chicken nugget massacre while in office. True. Listen, Posadabot's there for a reason, okay? While acknowledging there is public interest in transparency, Bratt said there's another public interest in criminal investigations being able to go forward unimpeded. True, and especially if there's definitely evidence to suggest that this is leaning towards that case. As Bratt warned, the release of the affidavit could have chilling effects on witnesses participating in this and future investigations. He revealed that several witnesses are already part of the document's investigation. Some of those witnesses have very specific relevant information that if released would reveal who they are. Yikes. Maybe that's why they're so eager to leave this, they're so eager to release this information, because they know that the domino effect of this is that Trump's, delusional base, which has a proclivity for violence, as we saw, the right is the champion when it comes to violence, time and time again. The far right and the right are exclusively the monopoly on violent tendencies. They know what the downstream effect of that would be. If their names get released, these people would go after them. 100%. Bratt also raised concerns about the risk the FBI has faced since the news of the Mar-a-Lago search, including a recent standoff at the Cincinnati FBI field office, and amateur sleuths on the internet. He told the judge that you best believe that there's if there's names, 100% that these people are going to get doxxed and found where they live and whatnot. He told the judge that if any of these documents are released, the DOJ would want to redact even the background information about the agents who worked on the matter so far. Trump's attorneys did not seek to weigh in court about releasing the documents. An attorney for Trump was present at the hearing, but she did not speak before the judge, nor was she asked to weigh in during the proceedings. The attorney, Christina Bobb, told reporters before the meeting that she was there to observe. Trump is not officially a part in the dispute over releasing the warrant documents. Previously, when the DOJ had asked the judge to unseal the warrant itself and the receipt of the search, the judge instructed the department to confer with Trump and then communicate to the court whether Trump opposed the disclosure of the documents. Ahead of Thursday's hearing, a judge set a 9 a.m. Eastern Time deadline for parties to file submissions responding to the DOJ's filings in the dispute. It was notable that the Trump team did not seek by then to formally get involved in the dispute, particularly because Trump and his allies have been vocal outside the court about their desire for the warrant documents to be released. Yeah, but when it comes down to being, in the official stuff, no way. Some of Bob's public remarks about the search were nonetheless put before Reinhardt on Thursday. Charles Tobin, who was arguing for the affidavit's release on behalf of the assortment of media outlets, including CNN, pointed out that Bob had already provided information about an FBI subpoena of Mar-a-Lago surveillance tape and that DOJ officials have visited Mar-a-Lago in June. Yeah, so one thing's clear. This investigation is definitely escalating. And I assume as time progresses, we'll find more. We'll find out more information. To me, the walls are looking a little bit thinner, like closing in. Do you know there's a Chomp song? I bet there is. Wouldn't be surprised. So far, my favorite one is the Iran song. Shmoyo. I don't know, I forget. Shmoyo.
We were there to serve our...
Ah.
On that ramp.
This question is on COVID.
I think you're going to have a big surprise, a beautiful surprise, sooner than anybody would think. But the answer is...
So, with that said, Linda, hi Linda.
I have a question for you. What do you think is your greatest accomplishment in your eyes?
Smoyoho. There we go. That's how you pronounce it. There we go. Alright. That was a good meme. That was a good meme. Wait, did you say Trumpy ran down the... Did Trump say he ran down the ramp when there's video footage? I don't remember this. No, I think he was saying that he couldn't or something like that. Because of the steep... Like, just... Yeah. Because of the steepness or something like that. I forget his quote on the whole ramp thing that caused this. Hold on. Quote, I guess? Oh, yeah. Hold on. This is it right here. This is what caused the whole thing.
This is an official.
One 1,106 cadets were graduating, and beautiful. So we walked like the equivalent of about 3 blocks, which was fine. We go on stage, which is fine. They make speeches, then I make a speech. It lasted a long time. I don't know, maybe 45 minutes. The sun is pouring down on me.
Oh
Would
my
you like
God.
to salute each cadet almost 600 times? You know what that is? 600 times! You go home and you say, it's like a workout without a weight, right? I was on the stage for hours. Hours!
Hours.
Sun. I came home, I had a nice tan. Meaning I had a nice sunburn. The general says, "Sir, are you ready?" I said, "I'm ready, General. Where are we going now?" And he goes like this, "Right here, sir." Now walk on. I've got myself a problem, General, because I'm wearing leather bottom shoes, which is good if you're walking on flat surfaces. It's not good for ramps. It had no handrail. It was like an ice skating rink. I said, General, there's no way I can make it down that ramp.
There you go. That's the quote. Thank you for refreshing my memory. Yeah.
Without falling on my ass, General.
Without
So I said,
falling
General,
on my
get ready,
ass.
'cause I may grab you so fast. Because I can't fall with the fake news watcher. It turned out to be worse than anything. I would have been better off if I fell and slid down the damn ramp. I start the journey
Inch by inch.
inch by inch, right? So I was bent over, right? And I'm going like this.
I ran.
So I took these little steps. I ran down the last 10. And by the way, their tape, take a look. In almost every instance, it ends just before I run. I said to our great First Lady, I said, let me ask you a question. Was it that good, the speech, that I'm trending #1? Because I felt it was really good. No,
Trending
they don't even
#1?
mention the speech. They mentioned the fact that you may have Parkinson's disease. I'll let you know if there's something wrong, okay? I'll let you know if there's something. I'll tell you what, there's something wrong with Biden, that I can tell. They said, you couldn't lift your hand up to your mouth with water. I said, I just saluted 600 times. She said, well, I know what you did. You had on a very good red tie. That's sort of expensive.
Anyways, that's enough of this buffoon. But yeah, that's the lore behind the song. It's hard to remember. He said a lot of stupid shit. True. But yeah, that's the lore. There you go. All right, folks. We've got one chill session, and then we're out of here, okay? Folks, if you have a moment, please check out this month's sponsor, HelloFresh, which we are currently using. HelloFresh has more 5-star reviews than any other meal kit, so you know you'll always get something delicious no matter what you choose. With 50 weekly options, including a rotating selection of items at HelloFresh Market, there are plenty of delicious dishes to choose from no matter the occasion, including vegetarian and vegan options. With HelloFresh, step-by-step recipes are super easy to follow, and pre-portioned ingredients help cut the prep time and make cleanup a breeze. Don't waste money on food you don't need. HelloFresh recipes come with the pre-portioned ingredients to make sure you have just the right amount for each recipe. It's true. I use it. If you guys look at the link there and use code POGHF475, you get up to 16 free meals, 3 surprise gifts across your 6 HelloFresh boxes, plus free shipping on your first box, and you get to support the channel. It's a twofer, folks. All right, so consider checking out this month's sponsor. You can click on !HelloFresh, or click on the link, or go to the channel panel and do it that way. Use code POGHF475. Also, before anything else, we make sure that if you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. It does help us out, and you get 5 free emotes. Join us on the YouTubes if you hit !YT. Oops, hold on. I can do this, I promise. !YT. And click on the button, on the big red button, you get to subscribe. And it really does help us out and spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be for news, for politics, Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us on Sundays as well for Sunday Fun Days around noon Eastern Time. Speaking of, I like pie. Riverboat Jack is phenomenal. So I think we're gonna go raid her. How about that? All right, folks. A-Bond resubscribing for 3 months. Good chill times. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for your time today, Carlos. Thank you, Cosmic Seeking. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the support. Thank you to all the new follows. I appreciate that. As always, folks, thank you for your support. You guys are what makes this channel go. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya! Hang tight. All right, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.